I remember the day I finally dumped the gun of the month nonsense. Table full of pistols, empty boxes, receipts I didn't want to look at, and one 9mm still riding on my hip like nothing had happened. That was when this list of most trusted pistols really started. I've watched guns win the internet and choke in a weekend class. I've seen cheap guns outlive pistols that cost twice as much. I've bought into hype, sold the mistake, and then realized there were a few 9mm I simply couldn't let go of, no matter how bored I got. Every pistol in this countdown has already survived thousands of rounds, ugly weather, junk ammo, bad draws, and that quiet little voice that says, sell it and try something new. If it ever sat on the sell pile, it didn't make this list. And inside these 5 is a gun I once hated, one everyone calls overrated, and one that only earned its holster after another pistol died in front of a class. Early February 2026, small outdoor range in Texas. I had a CZ P10C in my bag as a loaner. Just another plastic 9mm to hand somebody when their favorite started acting stupid. One guy rolled in with a more expensive pistol he'd been bragging on. First couple drills were fine, then it started doing dumb little things. Hesitations, weak ejection, one dead trigger that froze him. Same ammo as the rest of the line. Tempo dipped. People stood around, and my patience went with it. I yanked the P10C out and shoved it into his hands. Run this. If something fails now, it's not the gun. He finished the day with that pistol. Every makes you more tired and sloppy. The CZ kept cycling. No class-stopping failures, no drama. I stopped thinking about it, and that's the only respect a working gun ever earns. Since that day, that loaner has lived in my truck. I saw instructors show up with P10Cs on their belt, too. I still hate how the grip chews my hand on long strings. What gets in my head is this. When a so-called serious pistol dies on my line in 2026, the gun I reach for is the one I never planned on trusting that much. The Canik TP9 SFX never started as a serious gun in my head. It was a long slide I dragged out to go fast and burn ammo. The guy who changed that was an older instructor, the kind everybody shut up and watched. One afternoon, he pulled me onto a private bay, dropped his beat-up TP9 SFX on the table, and told me to leave my fancy pistol in the bag. His standard was simple and mean. 100 rounds, no breaks, transitions, one-handed strings, reloads, distance work. No time to baby anything. I pushed harder than I did when nobody watched. The Canik stayed flat, stayed honest, and every miss felt like my fault, not the gun's. His comment cut more than any compliment. Gun's not your problem. You shoot this better than that expensive thing you wouldn't shut up about. That was late 2025, and he had that TP9 SFX on his belt, walking into class in early 2026. A few nights later at my bench, that line still stung. I hated admitting a Turkish gun told me more truth than a couple pistols I'd called duty grade. And the gun above this one messed with my head worse, because that one proved what I trusted when somebody else pointed a gun back. Cold December night in Texas, lot empty, a few cars under bad lights. I was locking up with a man deputies call when they're short. On his belt was a beat-up HK VP9, sights chewed, holster worn smooth. A truck rolled in slow, killed its lights, and drifted where nobody parks. A silhouette stepped out, hands buried where I couldn't see them. We split without talking. My hand hit my pistol. His hit the VP9, and it came up calm and mean. The guy took one more step and reached deeper. For a second, the lot shrank down to 2 triggers. Later inside, with the VP9 cleared on the table, he just said, "If that hand had kept going, that was it. I don't think about this gun. I can't afford to." What stuck wasn't his fear. It was mine. I hated how much of my attention my own pistol had stolen in that moment. If a carry gun drags your eyes off the threat, when a parking lot goes quiet, it isn't a carry gun, it's a toy. And the pistol above this one is the one I kept putting on when there was no radio, no partner, nobody coming if I guessed wrong. Last year in Nevada, I sat across from an old cop friend. in a diner, shift over, and an M&P 9 2.0 compact still in his belt. I asked if he was really still carrying that thing. He just smirked and said, "You have no idea what kind of chain reaction this stupid pistol started out here." He told me quals had gone sideways, older guns had started choking, and a few of the quiet guys swapped to the off-duty, then on the belt. By the time this year rolled in, there were more of those pistols sitting in real holsters than whatever the memos like to brag about. A few weeks later, I was back in Texas, awake in a late-night gas station with that same M&P under my shirt. Something about a guy near the counter felt wrong, and my heart rate jumped. My hand went close to the grip, and I noticed I wasn't wondering if the pistol would work. I was only thinking about people and angles. If your carry gun changes more than the oil in your truck, you don't trust it, you're dating it. That M&P 2.0 compact survived every phase like that for me and for him, and the only 9mm I've seen beat that standard sits at number 1, riding belts more than anything else in 2026. Our more rooms tell the truth that YouTube never will. Last year, I was in the back of a busy shop with a friend who fixes everybody's duty guns when they choke. Pegboard, parts trays, broken pieces from guns, people swore they trusted. I took with my G19. He walked me past bins of broken pride, locking blocks from one fancy metal gun, strikers from another elite pistol, extractors chewed off guns that were supposed to be bomb-proof. In the Glock 19 corner, there were a couple beat-up frames, a slide or two, and more dust than parts. I asked what usually broke on them. He didn't even look up. Mostly the owners. These come in more for stupid triggers and sight swaps than for being dead. By 2026, the guns he saw least on that bench, and most in worn holsters on cops, instructors, and range rats who shoot, were 19 Gen 5s. Weeks later, I was at my own safe with one nasty question. 1 minute to grab a belt gun and walk out with family behind me. Which pistol do I trust not to end up in a parts tray? I like shooting other guns more, but every time I run that go bag test in my head, if I reach for anything besides the Glock 19 Gen 5, it feels like I'm trading certainty for entertainment. Looking back at that table covered in pistols and regret, the funny part is how simple it has all become. Every gun that felt exciting for a month ended up on the sell pile. These 5 kept showing back up in holsters, classes, and rough days when nobody cared what logo was on the slide. The rule I've landed on is ugly but honest. If I wouldn't hand that 9mm to a stranger with my family behind them on a cold day with junk ammo and no warm-ups, it has no business living in my carry rotation. Every pistol on this list has already passed that test more than once, so now it's on you. Out of all the 9mm you've owned, which one has really survived that standard? Think about it before you answer. I'm Steve, and if that question stings a little, good.